In this video, we looked at Higher Human Biology, Unit 2, Physiology and Health, specifically Key Area 2, Hormonal Control of Reproduction, Sub-Key Areas A and B. In Sub-Key Area A, we look at the hormonal control of puberty. So we will name the hormones which cause the pituitary gland to release its hormones. We will give the two hormones produced by the pituitary gland in males and the two produced by the pituitary gland in females. We'll then move on to Sub-Key Area B, the hormonal control of sperm production, and look at the role of FSH, ICSH, and testosterone in males. We will also describe how FSH and ICSH are used in the negative feedback control of testosterone. So children and adults differ in many very important ways. Children are not capable of making fertile offspring. Their gamete cells have not matured at this point, so they are not functional for making a zygote. The process where children go on to become adults is called puberty. It has a number of different stages which are not relevant to the course. In Sub-Key Area A, we'll look at the hormonal control of puberty. So, to simplify it, the hypothalamus is a region of the brain. It releases a hormone into the blood called releaser hormone. So we should remember from National 5 that each hormone is a protein which is specific for only one kind of target cell. So on its target cell, there will be a protein receptor. The hormone will fit perfectly into that receptor. What that means is that an endocrine gland can secrete a hormone into the blood. That hormone can pass past many different cells of the body and not have a chemical effect on them. It will only affect those cells which have a receptor for that particular hormone. So the releaser hormone is secreted from the hypothalamus. It binds to receptor cells on the pituitary gland, and the pituitary gland is stimulated to release follicle-stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and interstitial cell stimulating hormone. From these names, you might be able to guess what some of these do. Both males and females will produce FSH. LH and ICSH, as we use their abbreviations, are chemically incredibly similar. Females will produce LH, we'll talk about luteinizing hormone in the next video, Key Area C, and interstitial cell stimulating hormone is the male version of this hormone, and as you can see from the name, it stimulates the interstitial cells. In childhood, before puberty has occurred, these hormones have not been produced. Once the release of hormone starts to be secreted, the pituitary gland is stimulating, puberty will begin with the production of the luteinizing, interstitial cell stimulating, and follicle stimulating hormones. That's all that's contained within Key Area 2A, Key Area 2B, the hormonal control of sperm production. The pituitary gland, we've already discussed, in males will produce follicle-stimulating hormone and interstitial cell stimulating hormone. The follicle-stimulating hormone will be secreted into the blood and travel to the seminiferous tubules inside the testes, and the interstitial cell stimulating hormone will travel to the interstitial cells and stimulate them. This is an artist's rendition of the inside of the testes. So we know that inside the testes, these are the seminiferous tubules, and follicle-stimulating hormone will travel through the blood and it will bind to the cells of the seminiferous tubules. This will encourage sperm production. We'll then also have interstitial cell stimulating hormone traveling in the blood, and we know that these cells between the seminiferous tubules are the interstitial cells. Interstitial cell is just the biological word for cells between other things. So again, these interstitial cells have a more biological name that we don't cover within this course. So the interstitial cells have been stimulated and they will produce testosterone. So each of these cells here, when stimulated by interstitial cell stimulating hormone, will produce testosterone. Testosterone has three roles. It stimulates the seminiferous tubules to produce sperm, along with FSH. It stimulates the prostate and seminal vesicles to produce fluids, and we know from the previous area this encourages viability and motility of the sperm, and it also travels in the blood back to the pituitary. So when testosterone levels become quite high, they bind to the pituitary gland and they prevent the production of interstitial cell stimulating hormone, so SSH, and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. What this means is that the levels of testosterone in the blood are controlled quite nicely. When they get high, the testosterone will come back to the pituitary gland, will switch off ISSH and FSH production, and that means the stimulating effect on the seminiferous tubules and interstitial cell will be decreased. The interstitial cells will stop producing testosterone, the levels will fall in the blood, sperm production will reduce, and then if testosterone levels get too small, this inhibitory effect here will then also be reduced because testosterone will no longer be in the blood. The pituitary gland is then able to listen to the release of hormone again and produce ISSH and FSH. This is what we call negative feedback. By the end of this video, we should be able to name the hormones which cause the pituitary gland to release its hormones. So that is just the release of hormone. Give the two hormones produced by the pituitary gland in males, that's follicle stimulating hormone, and ISSH, which is interstitial cell stimulating hormone. The two hormones produced by the pituitary gland in females were follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, and together these brought about the onset of puberty. The hormonal control of sperm production. The role of FSH was to stimulate sperm production in the seminiferous tubules. The role of ISSH was to stimulate the production of testosterone. The role of testosterone was to aid in sperm production, stimulate the prostate gland and seminal vesicle to produce the fluids for mobility and viability, and to feed back on the pituitary gland through negative feedback and control the production of testosterone. Hopefully this video has given you the knowledge you need for this topic. If you have any questions, please do ask.